Brew yourself rich. How to make a fortune with your own beer. Basics of beer brewing. The basics of brewing beer are essential to understanding the brewing process and successfully creating your own beers. In this chapter, we will look at the most important aspects of brewing beer. The history of beer brewing. Origins of beer brewing. Early brewing techniques and traditions. Development of beer brewing over time. The most important ingredients of beer brewing. Malt. Types of malt and their importance for beer taste. Hops. Aromatization and bitterness in beer. Yeast. Fermentation process and influence on the beer style. Water. Quality. Composition and effects on beer. The equipment and utensils for brewing beer. Brewing systems and their functions. Malt mills. Mash tuns. Cooking pots and fermentation vats. Filling and cleaning equipment. Measuring instruments and control systems. The different brewing methods and techniques. Infusion mashing process and decoction mashing process. Clarifying and filtration of the wort. Boiling the wort and adding hops. Fermentation and maturation of the beer. A solid understanding of the basics of brewing lays the foundation for success in your own beer production. By familiarizing yourself with the history, ingredients, equipment and brewing techniques, you can expand your knowledge and improve your brewing skills. The history of beer brewing. The history of beer brewing goes back to ancient times and has undergone a fascinating development. Here we take a look at the important stages and milestones in the history of beer brewing. The beginnings. The origins of beer brewing go back a long way and are closely linked to the discovery of grain cultivation and processing. Thousands of years ago, people in different parts of the world began to grind, mix and ferment grain, which led to the creation of beer. Mesopotamia and Egypt. Beer played an important role in the early civilizations of Mesopotamia and Egypt. The Sumerians and Babylonians considered it a staple food and used it in religious ceremonies. In Egypt, too, beer was an everyday consumer product and was viewed by the Egyptians as a gift from the gods. Middle Ages and monastery breweries. In the Middle Ages, beer brewing was further developed and perfected by monasteries. Monks brewed beer not only for their own consumption, but also as a commercial enterprise. They developed new brewing techniques and contributed to the spread of beer throughout Europe. The Purity Law. In 1516, the Bavarian Purity Law was passed, one of the oldest food law regulations in the world. It stipulated that beer could only be brewed from barley, hops and water. Yeast was later added as a fourth ingredient. The Purity Law contributed to the quality assurance and standardization of beer. Industrial Revolution and craft beer movement. With the Industrial Revolution, breweries became large-scale operations, allowing for mass production of beer. In recent decades, however, the craft beer movement has gained prominence. Smaller breweries produce handcrafted beers that offer a wide variety of flavors and styles. The history of brewing beer is rich in tradition, innovation and cultural influences. It has continually evolved over time to become a global industry. Today, we can look back on this rich history and learn from the achievements of past brewmasters, while also breaking new ground and creating unique beers. The most important ingredients of beer brewing. When brewing beer, various ingredients play a crucial role and contribute significantly to the taste, aroma and appearance of the beer. Here are the most important ingredients in brewing beer. Malt. Malt is the basis for the beer brewing process. It is made from grain, most often barley, but wheat, Rye or oats can also be used. The grain is germinated, dried and then ground. During mashing, the enzymes contained in the malt are activated to convert the starch in the grain into sugar, which is necessary for fermentation. Hops. Hops give beer its characteristic taste, aroma and bitterness. Hop flowers contain essential oils and bitter substances that are released during the brewing process. Hops help balance the beer and also act as a preservative. There are different types of hops with different flavor profiles, from fruity and floral to spicy and resinous. Yeast. Yeast is the most important microorganism in beer brewing. There are different types of yeast, but the most commonly used is brewer's yeast, Saccharomyces cerevisiae. Yeast converts the sugar contained in the malt into alcohol and carbon dioxide through fermentation. This also creates the characteristic aromas and flavors of beer. There are different yeast strains that have different aromas and fermentation profiles. Water. Water is the main component of beer and forms the basis of the brewing process. It influences the taste and quality of the beer. Depending on the region and brewing water source, the mineral components of the water can vary and influence the character of the beer. The right water profile for certain beer styles is of great importance. In addition to these main ingredients, other ingredients can be added to the beer to achieve certain flavors or characteristics. These include, for example, spices, fruits, coffee or chocolate. Understanding and carefully selecting the right ingredients is crucial to brewing a high-quality and flavorful beer. The combination and dosage of ingredients allows brewers to create a variety of beer styles and flavors. The equipment and utensils for brewing beer. To brew beer, you need certain equipment and utensils that facilitate and assist the brewing process. Here are some of the most important tools and equipment used in beer brewing. Brewing system. The brewing system is the heart of the beer brewery. There are different types of brewing systems, from simple starter sets to professional systems. The brewing system typically consists of a mash tun, a lauter tun, a wort boiler and a fermentation tun. It enables the control and implementation of the various steps of the brewing process. Malt mill. A malt mill is used to grind the malt. Grinding increases the surface area of the malt, which facilitates contact with the water and improves the extraction of sugars during mashing. Mash tun. The mash tun is the container in which the crushed malt is mixed with warm water. This is where the mashing takes place, during which the enzymes contained in the malt are activated to convert the starch into sugar. Lauter tun. The lauter tun is used to separate the clear wort from the spent grain, the undissolved components of the malt. This step is called lautering and allows the wort to be extracted for the further brewing process. Wort boiler. The wort boiler is the container in which the wort is boiled. This is where hops are added to extract bitterness and aroma. The wort boiler should have sufficient capacity and heating power to boil the wort efficiently. Fermentation tun. The fermentation tun is the container in which the wort is fermented with yeast to produce alcohol and carbon dioxide. The fermentation tun should be well sealed to prevent air from entering and to allow for controlled fermentation. Filling and cleaning equipment. To fill the finished beer into bottles or kegs, appropriate filling equipment such as filling tubes, filling taps or kegging systems are required. In addition, cleaning equipment such as brushes, cleaning agents and disinfectants are important in order to thoroughly clean the equipment and utensils before and after the brewing process. Measuring instruments and control systems. Thermometers and hydrometers are important measuring instruments to monitor the temperature and alcohol content during the brewing process. In addition, pH meters, refractometers and digital control systems can be used to ensure the quality and consistency of the beer. Build your own beer system for home. Simple construction instructions. If you are interested in building a home beer system, there are several ways to do it. Here is a simple DIY beer system build guide. Materials: stainless steel pot with lid, at least 15 liters capacity. Stainless steel fermentation tank, at least 20 liters capacity. Stainless steel mash tun or a large bucket. Lautering plate or lautering sieve. Hose or pipe. Food safe. Faucet or drain valve. Thermometer. Fermentation lock or fermentation valve. Cleaning and disinfection agents. Step-by-step instructions. Step. Preparation. Make sure all materials and utensils are thoroughly cleaned and disinfected to ensure a clean brewing environment. Step. Mashing. Fill the stainless steel pot with the required amount of water and heat it to the desired mashing temperature. Add the crushed malt and mix well. Allow the mash to stand for the recommended time to convert the starch into sugar. Step. Purification. Place the lautering tray or sieve into the stainless steel mash tun or large bucket. Slowly pour the mash over the lautering tray or sieve to separate the clear wort from the solids. The fermentation vessel will catch the wort. Step. Cooking. Transfer the seasoning to the stainless steel pot and bring to a boil. Add the hops according to the recipe and boil the wort for the allotted time. After boiling, cool the wort quickly, ideally with a wort chiller or immersion chiller. Step. Fermentation. Transfer the cooled wort to the stainless steel fermentation vessel. Add the yeast and close the fermentation vessel with an airlock or fermentation valve to allow the resulting carbon dioxide to escape. Place the fermentation vessel in a suitable location with a constant temperature and let the beer ferment as the recipe prescribes. Step. Filling. After fermentation is complete, you can bottle or keg the beer. Clean and disinfect the bottles or kegs thoroughly before bottling the beer. Use a hose or pipe with a faucet or drain valve to pour the beer from the fermentation vessel into the bottles or kegs. Fill the bottles or barrels carefully to avoid excessive aeration. Seal the bottles or kegs airtight to allow the beer to carbonate and mature. Step. Maturation and storage. Store the filled bottles or barrels in a cool and dark place, ideally in a cellar or refrigerator. Allow the beer to mature for the recommended time to further develop the taste and quality. Check the carbonation level and maturity of the beer regularly to ensure it has reached the desired taste. Please note that brewing beer requires a certain amount of experience and knowledge, especially in terms of temperature control, yeast selection and hygiene. Make sure you familiarize yourself with basic brewing techniques and take all necessary precautions to brew a high quality and safe beer. Have fun brewing your own beer. The different brewing methods and techniques. There are different methods and techniques in brewing beer that can be used depending on the style of beer and personal preference. Here are some of the most common brewing methods and techniques. Infusion mashing. This is the most basic method of brewing beer. Infusion mashing involves mixing the crushed malt with hot water to activate the enzymes and convert the starch into sugars. The temperature is kept constant during mashing to obtain different sugar profiles. Decoction method. This traditional method is mainly used in some German beer styles such as Mosel or Bock. It involves taking a portion of the mash and boiling it in a separate pot to raise the temperature. The boiled mash is then returned to the main mash to continue the mashing process. Mashing with rests. This method uses different rests to achieve different enzyme activities and thus different sugar chains in the beer. Typical rests are the protein rest, the saccharification rest and the maltose rest. By using different rests, different beer profiles can be achieved. Boiling. Boiling is the process of adding hops to the wort during the boil to extract bitterness, aroma and flavor. The length of the boil and the amount of hops used affect the flavor and aroma of the beer. Different additions of hops can be made during the boil to achieve different flavor profiles. Cold or warm fermentation. The choice between cold or warm fermentation depends on the beer style. Cold fermentation ferments the beer at lower temperatures, around 7-13 degrees Celsius, while warm fermentation uses higher temperatures, around 15-24 degrees Celsius. The fermentation temperature affects the character of the beer, including aroma, flavor and ester formation. Secondary fermentation. After the primary fermentation, a secondary fermentation can take place, where the beer is stored for a certain period of time to further develop the flavor and complete the carbonation. This can be done in bottles, barrels or storage tanks. There are many more specialized brewing methods and techniques that can be used for specific beer styles or experiments. It's important to become familiar with the basic techniques and adapt them to your needs and preferences. Experiment with different brewing methods and techniques to brew unique and delicious beers. Brewing beers. Brewing beer is a fascinating art that allows you to create a variety of taste experiences. Each beer has its own distinctive characteristics, created by the specific combination of ingredients and brewing techniques. Here are some of the most popular beers and an insight into the brewing process. Pale Ale. Pale ale is known for its light color and balanced bitterness. The brewing process involves using pale ale malt as a base, a blend of special malts for color and flavor, and hops for aromas and bitterness. The yeast ferments the sugars into alcohol while the beer matures and gains flavor. India Pale Ale, IPA. IPA is famous for its intense hop flavor and higher alcohol content. The brewing process involves a generous amount of hops during boiling and fermentation. This gives the beer its characteristic bitterness and aromas of citrus, floral and resin. Stout. Stout is a dark, strong beer with a creamy texture and rich flavors. It is brewed with special malts that give the beer its dark color. The use of roasted malt gives the stout its characteristic flavors of chocolate, coffee and caramel. Hefeweizen. Hefeweizen is a German wheat beer with typical aromas of banana and cloves. It is brewed from a combination of wheat malt and special wheat yeast. The yeast provides a characteristic cloudiness and gives the beer its fruity aromas and spicy notes. Pilsner. Pilsner is a light yellow beer with a crisp bitterness and a malty note. The brewing process involves the use of Pilsner malt for a light color and a special lager yeast that ensures clean fermentation and good storability. Each type of beer requires careful selection and matching of ingredients and precise control of brewing parameters such as temperature, time and pH. The art of brewing beer lies in finding the right balance between malt, hops, yeast and water to achieve the desired aroma, taste and texture. Whether you are an experienced brewer or just starting out, craft brewing offers you the opportunity to develop your own unique creations and experience the full enjoyment of home-brewed beer. Immerse yourself in the world of brewing and let your creativity run wild to create your own personal favorite beers. Cheers. Classic beers. Classic beers have been popular for centuries and have a long tradition in beer culture. They are characterized by their characteristic aromas, colors and flavor profiles. Here are some examples of classic beers. Pilsner. Pilsner is a light, bottom fermented beer style that was originally developed in the Czech city of Pilsen. It is characterized by a clear golden color, moderate bitterness and a balanced malt aroma. Hefeweizen. Hefeweizen, also known as wheat beer, is a top fermented beer with a high proportion of wheat malt. It is known for its cloudy appearance, fruity and spicy yeast aromas and a pleasant banana and clove aroma. Pale ale. Pale ale is a style of beer characterized by its light golden to amber color and moderate to high hop bitterness. It has a distinct malt aroma and often offers flavors of citrus, pine and resin. Stout. Stout is a dark, strong beer with a distinctive roasted malt aroma. It is characterized by its full body, creamy texture and aromas of chocolate, coffee and sometimes dark fruits. Porter. Porter is another dark beer style that is often confused with stout. However, it is usually slightly lighter in body and has less pronounced roasted flavors. Porter offers flavors of coffee, chocolate, caramel, and sometimes fruit. Märzen. Märzen is a bottom fermented beer that was traditionally brewed for the Oktoberfest in Munich. It has a strong amber color, a malty aroma and a full-bodied taste. Märzen is often associated with light caramel and toasty notes. Amber ale. Amber ale is a beer with an amber to reddish color and a balanced ratio of malt and hops. It often offers flavors of caramel, toast, fruit, and a moderate bitterness profile. Kölsch. Kölsch is a top fermented beer style that originates from Cologne. It has a light golden color, a mild hop flavor and a dry, slightly malty aroma. Kölsch is often enjoyed as a refreshing summer beer. These classic beers each have their own unique characteristics and are popular around the world. Whether you're a fan of hoppy beers, malty varieties or refreshing wheat beers, there's something to suit every taste. Try different beers and discover your personal favorites. Pilsner. Pilsner is a classic beer style that originated in the Czech city of Pilsen. It is characterized by its light golden color, crisp and clean flavor, and distinct hop bitterness. Pilsners are typically light-bodied with a mild malt sweetness and a refreshing, dry finish. They showcase the flavors and aromas of noble hop varieties that add floral, herbal, and sometimes spicy notes. Wheat beer. Wheat beer, also known as Weissbier, is a traditional German beer style that uses a significant proportion of wheat malt in addition to barley malt. It is characterized by its cloudy appearance, often due to the suspended yeast, and its refreshing and fruity flavor. Wheat beers typically display flavors of banana and clove, which come from special yeast strains during fermentation. They have a smooth and creamy flavor with a moderate carbonation. Pale ale. Pale ale is a style of beer characterized by its light to amber color, balanced maltiness, and a distinct hop character. It offers a variety of flavor profiles, from light and refreshing to intensely hoppy. Pale ales often showcase hop aromas and flavors such as citrus, pine, floral, and herbal. They can vary in bitterness and have a moderate to medium body. Stout. Stout is a dark and strong beer style with a distinct roasted malt aroma. It is characterized by a full body, a creamy texture and flavors of chocolate, coffee and sometimes dark fruits. Please note that beer style names are often used in their original English because they are internationally known. Craft beer and experimental beers. Craft beer refers to handcrafted beers produced by independent breweries. These beers are characterized by creativity, variety, and a love of experimentation. Craft breweries are known for their innovative beers, which use new flavor combinations, unusual ingredients, and unconventional brewing methods. India Pale Ale, IPA. India Pale Ale, or IPA for short, is a style of beer that is particularly known for its strong hop bitterness and intense aromas. The IPA was originally brewed in Great Britain in the 19th century and was given a higher alcohol content and additional amounts of hops to make the beer last longer on long sea voyages to the colonies. Today, there are a variety of IPA variants, from classic, slightly malty to fruity, tropical, and even hazy IPAs. Saison beer. Saison beer, also known as farmhouse ale, is a style of beer originally brewed by Belgian country breweries. It is a refreshing, seasonal beer style with a distinctive balance of maltiness, fruitiness, and spicy flavors. Saison beers are often fermented with special yeast strains that can produce unique flavor profiles and a slightly sour note. They are known for their zippy carbonation and dry, pleasant drinkability. Craft and experimental beers offer beer lovers a wide range of taste experiences and an exciting change from traditional beer styles. They reflect the creativity and innovative spirit of the brewers and invite you to discover new and exciting flavors and flavor combinations. Barrel-aged beer. Barrel-aged beer is a special type of beer where the beer is stored in wooden barrels after fermentation and maturation. The barrels may have previously been used to mature spirits such as whiskey, rum, or wine. During storage, the beer absorbs aromas and flavor nuances from the wood and the spirits it previously contained. The result is a beer with complex flavors, often with notes of vanilla, caramel, oak, or the characteristics of the spirit. Fruit beers. Fruit beers are beers where fruit is added during the brewing process to give the beer a fruity aroma and fresh taste. There is a wide variety of fruit beers, from subtle nuances to intense fruit flavors. Popular fruit beers include cherry beers, raspberry beers, blackberry beers, peach beers, and many more. These beers can be found in both bottom fermented and top fermented styles, offering a refreshing alternative to traditional beer styles. International beers. The international beer landscape is rich in different types of beer brewed by countries all over the world. Each country has its own traditional beer styles that differ in color, aroma, taste, and brewing techniques. Some well-known international beers include Belgian beers. Belgium is known for its variety of beers, including Belgian ales such as double, triple, and quadruple, as well as lambic beers and Trappist beers. German beers. Germany is famous for its Reinheitsgebot but protected beers, including Pilsner, Wiesenbier, Kölsch, Altbier, and Märzen. British beers. Britain has a long beer tradition with styles such as Pale Ale, India Pale Ale, IPA, Porter, and Stout. American beers. The United States has pioneered the craft beer movement and offers a variety of beers such as American Pale Ale, APA, American IPA, Imperial Stout, and barrel-aged beers. Czech beers. The Czech Republic is famous for its Pilsner, which is considered the original Pilsner and forms the basis for many Pilsner beers around the world. These international beers represent just a small sample of the variety of beers available around the world. Each country has its own unique brewing traditions and taste preferences, resulting in a rich selection of beers. Recipes for special beer creations. Brewing beer offers an endless variety of possibilities to create unique and special beers. From exotic ingredients to unusual brewing techniques to unconventional flavor combinations, home brewers and craft breweries can let their creativity run wild and develop innovative beer recipes. Here are some inspiring ideas for special beer creations. Fruity beers. Experiment with different fruits, such as raspberries, blackberries, pineapple or passion fruit, to give the beer a fresh and fruity character. Whether added during the brewing process or as a second pour in the fermentation, fruits can add a natural sweetness and complex flavors to the beer. Spiced beers. Use spices like cinnamon, ginger, coriander or cloves to add a spicy note to the beer. Experiment with different amounts and combinations to find the perfect balance of flavors. Spiced beers are a great way to create seasonal variations and give the beer a special flavor note. Barrel-aged beers. Let the beer mature in wooden barrels that were previously used to store whiskey, rum or wine. During storage, the beer absorbs the aromas and characteristics of the wood and the spirits it previously contained. The result is a beer with remarkable complexity and depth that impresses with vanilla, caramel or oak notes. Sour beers. Explore the fascinating world of sour beers, which are made by using special bacteria or yeast strains. These beers are characterized by their refreshing acidity and complex flavor profiles. Combine them with fruits or herbs to create unique sour beer creations. Hybrid beers. Combine different beer styles and techniques to brew unconventional hybrid beers. For example, mix a stout with an IPA to create a bold and hoppy beer with roasted malt character. Let your creativity run wild and create beer creations that push the boundaries of traditional beer styles. When brewing special beer creations, there are no limits to your imagination and willingness to experiment. Discover new worlds of taste. Try unusual ingredients and find your very own signature in the world of beer brewing. With a little courage and passion, you can create unique beer experiences for yourself and other beer lovers. Cheers. Winter and Christmas beers. The cold season is the perfect time to enjoy special winter and Christmas beers. These beers are characterized by their warming and spicy flavors and create a cozy atmosphere during the holidays. Here are two popular categories of winter and Christmas beers. Spicy winter beers. Spicy winter beers are known for their rich and aromatic flavor profiles. They often contain a variety of spices that add a special touch to the beer. Cinnamon, cloves, ginger, nutmeg and cardamom are just some of the spices commonly used in winter beers. These beers are often full-bodied and have a pleasant sweetness reminiscent of gingerbread or spice cake. They are perfect for warming up on cold winter days and enjoying the festive spirit. Festive Christmas beers. Christmas beers are an integral part of many beer traditions around the world. They are brewed specifically for the festivities of the holiday season and often have a deep-rooted history and tradition. Christmas beers can vary greatly depending on the region and brewing tradition. Some examples of festive Christmas beers include strong beers, which are brewed with higher alcohol content, as well as bock beers and dark beers with malty and sweet notes. These beers are often rich, full-bodied and perfectly match the festive foods and moods of this special time of year. Seasonal beers. Seasonal beers are beers brewed specifically for a particular time of year. They capture the character and flavors of that time of year and offer beer lovers seasonal variety. Seasonal beers can be fresh and fruity for summer, malty and spicy for fall, light and refreshing for spring, or warming and rich for winter. They reflect the changing taste preferences and moods of the different seasons and are a great way to explore the diversity of beer brewing. Winter and Christmas beers as well as seasonal beers offer a welcome change from the classic beer styles and allow us to experience the special features of each season in one glass. Whether for festive occasions, cozy winter evenings or enjoying the seasonal flavors, these beers bring an extra portion of joy and enjoyment to the corresponding time of year. Beer cocktails and mixed drinks. Beer cocktails and mixed drinks are an exciting way to expand the traditional beer experience and explore new flavor combinations. By combining beer with other spirits, juices, syrups and flavors, you can create refreshing and creative drinks that combine the best of both worlds. Here are 2 examples of beer cocktails and mixed drinks. Beer margarita. The beer margarita combines the refreshing flavors of a classic margarita with the tangy note of a beer. Mix tequila, lime juice, orange liqueur and sugar in a shaker and pour the mixture over ice in a glass. Then fill the glass with a light and tangy beer, such as a pale ale or a wheat beer. The beer margarita is a refreshing and tasty cocktail for social occasions. Radler with exotic fruits. A radler is a refreshing mixed drink made from beer and lemonade. For a special variation, you can add exotic fruits to give the radler a unique flavor. To do this, squeeze fresh exotic fruits such as pineapple, mango or passion fruit and pour the juice into a glass. Then fill the glass halfway with a light and sparkling beer and top off the radler with lemonade. The exotic radler is a refreshing and fruity alternative to the classic radler. Beer with unusual ingredients. Another way to discover special beer creations is to introduce unusual ingredients into the brewing recipe. From exotic spices to unconventional fruits or herbs, there are numerous ways to enrich the beer with interesting flavors. For example, when making a stout beer, you can add coffee beans or chocolate to give it an intense and complex flavor. Or you can experiment with different types of hops to give the beer an unusual bitterness or fruity flavors. Using unusual ingredients opens up a world of flavor possibilities and allows brewers to develop their own unique beer creations. Tips and tricks for successful beer brewing. Brewing beer can be a fascinating and rewarding activity, but it also requires some skill and knowledge to be successful. Here are some tips and tricks that can help you achieve optimal results when brewing beer. Cleanliness and hygiene are crucial. Make sure all equipment, utensils and surfaces are thoroughly cleaned and disinfected before starting the brewing process. Bacteria or other contaminants can negatively affect the beer. Follow the purity law. The purity law, also known as the German beer law, specifies that beer can only be made from water, malt, hops and yeast. Stick to these basic ingredients to brew an authentic and high-quality beer. Use fresh ingredients. Quality ingredients are key to a great beer. Make sure to use fresh malt, fresh hops, and fresh yeast to achieve the best aromas and flavor profiles. Control the temperature. Proper temperature control is critical to the success of the brewing process. Make sure you maintain the correct temperature during mashing, fermentation and storage. Each step requires a specific temperature to achieve the desired results. Pay attention to fermentation conditions. Fermentation is a critical step in beer brewing. Make sure you let the yeast ferment in a suitable environment to ensure optimal fermentation and development of flavors. Control the temperature, pH and aeration during the fermentation process. Be patient. Good beer takes time. Respect the time needed for the different brewing steps, including fermentation and storage. Patience and perseverance will be rewarded when you get a high-quality beer with balanced aromas and flavors. Experiment and have fun. Brewing beer is a creative activity that allows you to develop your own recipes and experiment. Be curious. Try new ingredients, hops or brewing techniques and discover your own style. Enjoy the process and have fun brewing your own beer. With these tips and tricks, you can increase your chances of brewing successfully and creating unique and delicious beers. Remember, brewing is an ongoing learning journey where you can continually develop your skills and knowledge. Error analysis and troubleshooting. Occasionally, problems or errors may occur during the production of beer. It is important to identify them early and take appropriate measures to ensure the quality of the beer. Here are some common mistakes in beer brewing and possible solutions. Infections. If the beer has an unusual taste, smell or is cloudy, there could be an infection. Review your cleaning and sanitizing practices and make sure all equipment and utensils are thoroughly clean. To prevent infections, you should also ensure good ventilation and control of fermentation conditions. Fermentation problems. If the beer is not fermented enough or has unusual flavors, this may be due to fermentation problems. Check the temperature during fermentation. Make sure there is enough healthy yeast and add more yeast if necessary. Also check the pH and aeration to create optimal conditions for fermentation. Off flavors. Sometimes, unwanted flavors can appear in beer, known as off flavors. This can be caused by improper storage, oxidation, contamination, or using stale malt. Make sure you use fresh ingredients and store beer properly to avoid off flavors. Lack of carbonation. If the beer is not sufficiently carbonated, it may be due to problems during the bottle fermentation or kegging process. Make sure there is enough yeast to carbonate and that the bottles or kegs are properly sealed. Also check the temperature during carbonation, as lower temperatures can slow down the process. Cloudy beer. If the beer is cloudy or contains sediment, this may be due to insufficient clarification. Make sure there is sufficient rest time after fermentation and use clarifying agents if necessary. Stir the beer gently during bottling to avoid stirring up sediment. Flavor imbalance. If the beer has an unpleasant bitter, sweet or sour taste, it may be due to an imbalance of ingredients or inaccurate measurements. Make sure you use the correct amounts of malt, hops and yeast and measure accurately. Also, experiment with different recipes and adjustments to achieve the flavor profile you want. Storage and maturation of home-brewed beer. Storing and maturing your home-brewed beer is an important step in developing the quality and taste of the beer. Here are some tips for optimal storage and maturation. Temperature stability. The beer should be exposed to a stable and cool temperature during storage. Ideally, this is between 4 degrees Celsius and 12 degrees Celsius. Fluctuating temperatures can have a negative effect on the beer and lead to undesirable changes in taste. Dark environment. Store the beer in a place protected from direct light. Light can oxidize the beer and cause undesirable flavors. Use dark glass bottles or store the beer in a cool and dark cellar. Be patient. Beer maturation takes time. Depending on the type and style of beer, the optimal maturation time can vary. As a rule, beer should be stored for at least 2 to 4 weeks after fermentation to allow sufficient maturation. However, some beers, such as strong beers or Belgian ales, may require longer maturation times of several months. Bottle fermentation. When bottling and carbonating the beer, allow the beer sufficient rest time to complete the carbonation process. The bottles should be kept upright during this time and protected from shocks. Be careful not to store the beer for too long, as excessive yeast deposits can form. Observe flavor development. During storage and maturation, the flavor of the beer can evolve. Take time to taste the beer regularly and notice any changes in aroma and flavor. Make note of your observations and adjust the storage time or conditions if necessary to achieve the desired flavor profile. Be patient and enjoy. Storing and maturing beer is a process that requires patience. Give the beer the time it needs to develop its full potential. The longer the beer is stored, the more harmonious and balanced the taste usually becomes. Take your time to fully enjoy your home-brewed beer and appreciate the fruits of your labor. By following these tips, you can ensure that your home-brewed beer undergoes optimal maturation and development to achieve the best possible taste and quality. Beer labels and presentation. The design of beer labels and the presentation of your home-brewed beers are important aspects to present your creations in an appealing and professional manner. Here are some tips for designing beer labels and successfully presenting your beer. Creative design. Design a unique and attractive label for your beer. Use creative graphics, appropriate colors and attractive fonts that reflect the essence of your beer. The label should attract people's interest and make your brand or creation stand out. Brand identity. If you plan to brew and showcase your own beers on a regular basis, it is advisable to develop a brand identity. Design a logo or brand symbol that will be prominently placed on your labels. This will help to identify your beers and create recognition among consumers. Information on the label. Make sure that all required information is included on the label. This includes the name of the beer style, the alcohol content, the bottling date and any special ingredients or instructions. Make sure that all legal requirements regarding labeling are met. Quality of labels. Use high-quality label materials that offer good durability and resistance to moisture. Labels should be easy to apply and not easily peeled off or damaged. Consider investing in professionally printed labels for a high-quality appearance. Presentation of the beer. Think about the packaging and presentation of the beer. Attractive packaging, such as custom-designed bottle crates or gift sets, can increase the appeal of your beers. Also think about using glasses or mugs with your brand logo to serve the beer in style. Online presence. Use the power of the internet to showcase your home-brewed beers. Create a website or use social media to share photos, information and stories about your beers. This can help strengthen your brand and reach a wider audience. The design of beer labels and the presentation of your beers are an important part of the overall experience for your customers. With creative design, high-quality materials and a well-thought-out presentation, you can present your beers in an appealing and professional manner. Earn money with home-brewed beer. Making money from home-brewed beer is possible, but it requires some consideration and steps. Here are some potential ways to generate income from your home-brewed beer. Selling to friends and family. Start by selling your beer to friends, family and acquaintances. This allows you to get feedback and test the market for your beer. You can arrange sales privately or organize occasional tastings and events. Local restaurants and breweries. Offer your beers to local restaurants, bars and breweries to complement their beer selection. Arrange tastings or meetings with operators to introduce your products. Some establishments may offer the opportunity to sell your beer on a limited basis. Sell at local markets and festivals. Attend local markets, craft beer festivals and other events to showcase your beer to a wider audience. Rent a booth or share a booth with other brewers. This allows you to sell your beer directly to consumers and build contacts in the industry. Online sales. Open your own online store to sell your beer. Use a platform that specializes in selling craft beers or create your own website. This will allow you to ship your beer to customers in your area or even nationwide. Beer subscriptions and club memberships. Offer beer subscriptions or club memberships where customers receive a selection of your beers on a regular basis. This creates long-term customer loyalty and recurring revenue. Beer brewing courses and workshops. Share your knowledge and passion for brewing by offering courses and workshops. Show interested people how to brew their own beer and offer them the opportunity to purchase your equipment or ingredients. Participate in beer competitions. Participate in beer competitions and potentially win awards and recognition for your beers. This can increase your credibility and help you promote your beer to a wider audience. It's important to note that selling home-brewed beer is subject to legal rules and regulations, particularly regarding licensing and labeling. Be sure to research the legal requirements in your area and make sure you obtain all the necessary permits and certifications to legally sell your beer. Selling home-brewed beer requires time, commitment and a solid business strategy. Rights and ownership notice. This audiobook is published and distributed by Testbericht-Institut LLC. All copyrights, publishing rights, distribution rights, audio rights, and related intellectual property rights for this work have been lawfully and exclusively acquired by Testbericht-Institut LLC. Testbericht-Institut LLC is the sole and unrestricted rights holder of this audiobook, including the right to reproduce, distribute, publish, monetize, and publicly perform the content on digital platforms such as YouTube. The original manuscript files, source documents, and contractual acquisition records serve as proof of lawful ownership. The original author and/or their authorized representative, Renovatio LLC, has transferred all relevant rights to Testbericht-Institut LLC in accordance with applicable copyright and publishing law. This ownership applies to all current and future uses of this work, including audio, video, and digital publications. Effective date of rights ownership: the 1st of February 2026. Any unauthorized use, reproduction, re-upload, redistribution, or claiming of this content is strictly prohibited. Copyright Testbericht-Institut LLC. All rights reserved.